One of the factors what makes this exam a little difficult exam compared to others is that there is no structured way of guidance here. The candidates are suffering from the choices, problem of plenty.
Too much information, and they don't know which one
to choose. What is the right amount of material? What is the right kind of guidance? What is the right strategy for the exam? It's not for super intelligent people. There is no rocket science what is asked here. So the subject itself is general studies.
Get it.
So why is it so difficult? Because of the patience it requires, the hard work it requires, the perseverance. Because it's not very easy to clear it in first attempt.
Coming to your actual job right now, right, which is being an IRS officer, can you tell us a little bit more on what IRS stands for and the basic responsibilities of the IRS department? Hi Pakkiresh.
Hi.
Thank you so much for making time and coming for this shoot.
My pleasure.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
This is our third episode of the Citizens Talk Show, and I'm very excited for this one because the first time we have an IRS officer on the show. And your introduction, Pakkiresh is Deputy Commissioner of Income Tax in Bengaluru, and he is from Hubli. You did your engineering in BBB, and you passed out in 2017 batch of the IRS.
Yeah.
And you were posted previous to Bangalore in Pune, Kolhapur and Bangalore. So the interview is going to be very free flowing, and we want to really discover what an IRS officer does in day to day, how he came to this position. Obviously there's a lot of backstory to that, so we'll focus on those things. I think there's a lot of people who don't really know what an IRS officer also does. There's a lot of people who are aware of IPS, they're aware of IAS, which is more the buzzwords, but IRS is somewhere in the back, working in the back, but doing a lot of things, and that's what we want to discover on today's talk show. So please go ahead and introduce yourself, Pakkiresh, and tell us more about you and your background.
Well, my name is Pakkiresh Badami. I come from Hubli. I'm an engineer by education, and I belong to 2017 batch of Indian Revenue Service, which is called IRS. So presently I'm posted as Deputy Commissioner of Income Tax in Bangalore, and I got interested in civil service, and I started preparation, went to Delhi, and then cleared the exam in 2017. After that, I got posted in Pune region, and then Kolhapur. Presently, I'm in Bangalore. Pretty much that.
Right now, so how long have you been in Bangalore for?
Last 2 years.
Last 2 years.
Posted in Bangalore. Yeah.
Okay. Do you like being in Bangalore?
Yeah, of course. Anybody would like to.
Yeah, usually people would be very in the big cities, a lot of traffic, so people who any opportunity to go out, they are trying to go out, but Bangalore also has a lot of opportunities. I think that's why everyone wants to be here. So let's move on to your day-to-day routine, Pakkiresh. We just want to understand how your day goes by, like how your day starts, and what routine you go through the day. Some days are different, some days are more structured. Can you run us through what an IRS officer goes through in a day?
The present post where I am in, it's a combination of field work and office work. Whenever it's a field work, field days, it will be a little erratic. It starts at odd times, it ends at odd times. Sometimes we start early in the morning, 4 a.m. and it goes up to 12 a.m. at night.
Oh wow, okay.
And then sometimes we work overnight. So there won't be like any timings.
Right.
So our routines get disturbed on those days. Other than that, during office hours, during office days, it will be more or less usual work, dealing with files and conducting hearings and all those issues.
Right. So that's your normal.
Yeah, it's a combination of both field and office work.
We'll go a bit deeper on your work a bit later, but we want to also understand your journey into civil services.
Yeah.
Right. So the UPSC exam is a really sought after exam in India. millions of people, lakhs of people, aspire to become young officers like you. And it's a continuous preparation, and there's a lot of hard work, dedication, and a very small percentage of people actually come out successful. And you're one of them. So I think it's really important to talk more on this. So if you could tell us your journey, so our viewers, whoever's watching this, can learn and understand from that.
So I'd like to go back to the point how it started first. So it's little hazy. I don't know when it started exactly.
Yeah.
But I feel it started in my schooling days. I studied in a boarding school.
Okay.
In boarding school, teachers are not just teachers. They are like more of a mentors. We see them in mentor role. So we interact them day in, day out. So one of such teachers used to study for this exam. I think that's how I got influenced. He used to tell about this exam. What is this exam? What is it for? What do we become after clearing this exam? And all those things. So indirectly, he influenced me to this path. So I don't know when it exactly happened, the exact point of time, but I got interested in this. That seed was sown in my mind by him, I think. Then it grew inside within me slowly. And then after college, I had clarity of thought that I'll join civil services. After clearing final exams,
I'll stop you here quickly. So in school, because I think how many of when your school I think teacher was preparing, is it only you who was inspired, or there were a group of people who actually got inspired in college? Is it someone who wanted to do, because usually what happens is in peer group, one person says, I want to join the army, I want to be a pilot. Then the friends say, I want to also become that because my friend is becoming that. Was it something collective like that, or was it you directly got inspired?
I think 2-3 more got influenced because of that. They are also in some of the other positions. One has become a Tahsildar in state government. One more has become a NCC officer. All of them are in public services,
right,
in one way or the other.
Right.
So that teacher influenced at least 10 people.
Sure.
Whom I know.
Okay.
2-3 are at least in the positions already. So one of them is me.
Okay.
So then coming back to that point, I went to Delhi after clearing my final exams somewhere in 2013. I didn't attend placement season. I didn't attend any placement interviews. After that, I went to Delhi. I was in Delhi for 1 year almost. I took coaching in one of the institutes. Then,
when you say placement interviews, what does that mean?
In engineering,
when you're
in the final year,
your engineering,
we had to attend interviews for jobs.
Yeah, sure.
So I had clarity of thought. I didn't attend the interview. I didn't go for that. Then in Delhi, I took coaching for 1 year. I came back from Delhi and stayed in Dharwad. And then prepared from Dharwad, and then came to Bangalore and then cleared in 2017.
Okay. So, but you're telling it very quickly. We want to know more details.
Yeah.
So when you decided after your placement, I think that's when you knew that you want to get into it. So can you talk a little bit more when you went to Delhi? Like what did you actually do? How did you find out where to go? What to study? Because I think that's the key important point which probably changed a lot of things in your side.
See, one of the factors what makes this exam a little difficult exam compared to others is that there is no structured way of guidance here. So in other courses, suppose say MBA or any other engineering for that sake, there is a college, there is an exam. Everybody has to flow through that stream, and there are set pattern. Their destination is known already. Here we don't know whom to approach, which institute to look for, what strategy to follow, which material to read. This uncertainty itself will take a lot of time of the aspirant. So here also I faced this difficulty, whom to approach, where to go in Delhi. We don't know. That's the first time I went to Delhi.
Yeah, okay. so you went
there was one officer called Jinendra Kanagavi. He's a state police service officer. He also takes classes for aspirants when he was in Bangalore. Now also he takes classes. So he suggested one coaching institute for us, me and my friend who were from BBB College. We approached him. He suggested one institute in Delhi. That's where we went and joined the classes. So we took Kannada literature as the optional subject, one of the optional subject. He taught us Kannada literature basically. He also had taken the same subject for his exam.
Right.
So he had become almost like a master in that.
Okay.
So he took classes for that subject, and then he made us go and take classes for general studies in Delhi.
Sure.
So it was almost for 1 year we were in Delhi. We took coaching in one of the institutes in Delhi.
And when you were there, like, did you go alone or did you go with a group of friends?
Yeah.
How did you?
That's why this peer group helps a lot.
Yeah.
It keeps you confident, motivated. That peer pressure also sometimes, and peer influence also.
Yeah.
Whatever way you call it.
Yes.
So that helps a lot. I had a group of 4 friends who came with me. We're all classmates in engineering. Out of that, 3 have cleared the exam.
Oh wow, that's a very high.
One is again in the same field. He's into coaching now.
Okay.
So he's still attached with the same field.
Right.
So it was a good group,
Right.
and we all were like-minded. We stayed together, in fact, in Delhi, in one rented house.
Right.
Prepared together.
I think to touch upon this, the bonhomie is important, and we have seen it in some movies. How important it is, especially for a very, very difficult exam. Mental strength and making sure that you are reassured that what you're doing is correct. I think one of the biggest things I've seen personally, where people are preparing is they tend to question themselves, am I in the right path? I think there's most of the times when you're writing challenging exams like this, it could be in the medical field, it could be in UPSC, it could be to clear your NDA, for example, in all services or all challenging exam, IITs obviously. I think one is the confidence. Yes, I'm going to make it. But when in UPSC, there are a lot of layers, right? So we can talk about this after my question. But but there's a lot of strength required, right? So how did you find the strength? Is it from just friends? Is it from, let's say, some mentors, from parents? Because it's a full ecosystem of support which is required for this, not just from one place.
See, there are motivation per se, if you ask. There are 2 kinds of motivation. One is external motivation which comes from external factors, say your parents, your friends, or your peer group, or something like that, which is outside you. Then there is one motivation which is internal motivation. There's some internal desire, there's some fire in the belly, they say.
Yes.
That is internal motivation. I think external motivation helps to a certain extent. But for this kind of a challenge, this exam is so difficult, so lengthy. It needs internal motivation to drive you so long.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to get difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
So many people get into this process because of this external pressure, external motivation. Their parents want them to become officers. Their social groups, somebody's son or daughter has become officer, so their parents will be putting their children under pressure to you also try.
Yeah.
You also try your hand in the exam. That kind of pressure they will be under, and they will try because of that. That will not sustain long.
Yeah.
Unless one really wants to become an officer or clear this exam, then it is possible.
Right.
So peer influence helps to a certain extent. It will help you cheer up at bad times, difficult times. That will not be driving force for clearing this exam in the long run.
In the long run, yeah. I think it has to come within, basically, in summary.
Yeah.
So taking one step back, right? Obviously, the journey you summarized it, but let's understand what is the UPSC. What are the layers of UPSC? What is the approach someone has to take? Can you tell us how the exams are done, or what are the layers to get to where you are today, right?
Okay, this UPSC word itself, we got to know the full form when we went to Delhi.
Okay.
It's basically Union Public Service Commission.
Yeah.
Kendra Lok Seva Ayog. It's a constitutional body. It is set up under constitution, not by any order or law. So the mandate of the UPSC is to recruit for central government and state governments. Mainly the key positions.
Right.
Say IAS, IPS, IRS, and Indian Railway Service. There are 20 odd services, 22 services, which are clubbed together. And one common exam is conducted for all those 22 services. And it is called a civil service examination. It started pre-independence. The British started it. Then it used to be called Indian Civil Service, ICS.
Okay.
After independence, it became IAS and other services were also started,
Right.
based on the requirement and the increasing space of governance.
Yeah.
So that's how this exam is started. And these 22 services, one common exam, and it happens every year.
Okay.
Almost every year there will be a notification in the newspapers and
Okay.
also Gazette. And it starts somewhere in the notification comes somewhere in the month of February, March.
Okay.
And first there will be three stages of exam: preliminary examination, mains examination, and then interview. That's the third stage. So preliminary examination will be objective, multiple questions, and then mains will be descriptive type of examination.
Okay.
Interview, as usual, will be viva.
Sure.
Face to face.
Right.
And preliminary happens across various cities, including tier 2 cities.
Okay. So
For
you can
instance,
write those exams in the
Tier 2 cities as
Tier
well.
2 cities as
In physical form only, no
Okay.
digital format.
Okay.
So, for instance, I wrote mostly in Dharwad.
Okay.
Dharwad is also one of the center
Okay.
for
Sure.
preliminary examination.
Okay.
And mains is descriptive, and very few people get selected from preliminary stage. I'll come to the numbers later.
Yeah.
So mains happen mostly in state capitals.
Okay.
So I wrote mains exam in Bangalore
In Bangalore. Okay.
most of the times.
Okay.
And interview happens only in Delhi.
Only in Delhi.
Yeah, all candidates are called to Delhi. There is this Dolpur house. It is the UPSC headquarters.
Okay.
So there they conduct
The main
interviews for all the candidates.
Yeah.
And it will run almost like 1.5 months long schedule.
Sure.
Every day there will be 30-40 candidates who will be interviewed
Okay.
by the board of interviews.
Sure.
That board will contain eminent academicians and from the universities, and also bureaucrats, former bureaucrats,
Yeah. Okay.
who have retired from the
So it's
service.
not just serving officers.
No.
It is
It's a
different
mix
body.
of academicians and former bureaucrats.
Okay.
One chairman of the board will be always member of the UPSC.
Got it.
UPSC has members, chairman and members,
Okay.
who are appointed by the government of India.
Got it.
They are constitutional positions. They will be chairman of each board.
Okay.
And other members of the board will be called from across India.
Got it.
And that is the process. And coming to numbers, when I was writing, almost 23 lakh people used to write preliminary examination. Out of that, around 15,000 will be selected for mains.
Wow. Okay.
So in the first
So
stage,
you get a
itself,
big filter.
yeah, big filter.
Yeah.
They say it's more of a rejection exam than selection.
Yeah.
So the number of people rejected will be much
Much higher.
more
Yeah, it's
than
1%.
Yeah,
1%.
Yeah. From 15,000 in mains, it will be reduced to 3,000.
So 15,000. Okay. Then the first is the highest filter. Then if you get to the first one, I think I think the filtration will become smaller, but still probably more challenging the exam.
Yeah. It becomes more and more difficult.
Difficult. Yeah.
So from 3,000, I'm telling ballpark numbers.
Ballpark, yeah. Okay.
because
When your time you wrote it.
It varies from the number of vacancies of that year.
Okay.
It is all these numbers are fixed based on that.
Sure.
So in that year, in our exam year, it was 1,000 vacancy, roughly.
Okay.
So 3,000 people were called for interview.
Okay.
So from 15,000 to 3,000, and 3,000 were called for interview. So out of every three, one was selected finally.
Yeah, which is again a big filtration.
So it came from 23 lakhs to 1,000 finally.
Yeah, finally, yeah.
That this exam is difficult only because of this, nothing else. There's so much of competition, and the ratio of selection, I think, is one of the lowest of all the exams.
Including compared to IITs, NEET.
I think so.
So this is at least when the time you were writing.
Now I think even that was 23 lakhs in 2016 or 17.
Yeah.
I think it will costing 30 lakhs or 35 lakhs now.
By now. Yeah. I'm sure. And which one, which in all these layers, which one was the most difficult for you? I mean,
all are equally difficult, because they are different ball games altogether.
Yeah.
Preliminary is a different skill set. Requirement of skill set is totally different. Mains is
Can you explain a bit more like the preliminary?
Preliminary is multiple type questions. As I said, so there we go very wide in the subject, not depth in each point of subject. We have to know a lot of things, everything under the sun, basically.
Right.
The subject title itself is general studies.
Okay. So the scope is very big.
Scope is very big.
So
You need not know in deep
Yeah.
all the subjects.
So you need to at least know
A lot of things.
lot of things.
And current affairs is very much important part of the syllabus. What is happening around you? That is one of the requirement for any bureaucrat
To
to
know,
be
yes,
aware of.
yeah.
So that is one thing. And in preliminary, the newspapers.
Yeah.
People read religiously. And
Okay. Because that gives you all the correct information.
Nobody can take that risk of skipping reading
Newspapers, yeah, you need to be aware of all current affairs. Yeah.
In fact, we started reading the newspapers after study preparation because nobody cares to
Cares so
read
much.
in college days.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. So preliminary is more of a breadth of knowledge.
Yeah.
Then comes mains.
Sure.
Mains is descriptive type of examination.
Right.
There you need to dig deeper into the subject. You need to go deep inside the subject. The scope will be limited.
Yeah.
There is a set syllabus. Within that, you have to know in depth of each of the topics. There you will be asked.
What was the filter you said? So from 23 lakh it becomes 15,000 and 15,000
to
3,000. Yeah.
This is the mains.
Okay. So got it.
So that is a.
So 15,000 will be writing mains and they will go deeper into the subject.
Yeah. That subject is also like it is a 1,750 mark exam.
1,750 marks.
So it will be spread into I think 9 papers.
9 papers. Okay.
One will be essay.
Yeah.
4 papers of general studies.
Yeah.
2 papers of optional paper. Like there are around 25 subjects. Out of that you have to choose one subject.
Right.
So on that subject there will be 2 papers.
Okay.
My subject was literature of Kannada language, Kannada literature.
Is that something you can choose?
Yeah, I can choose. It's optional subject.
Okay.
There's a set of 22 subjects.
Right.
We can choose anyone. There's physics, chemistry, history, geography, all sorts of subjects are there.
Got it.
Based on their interest, they have to choose.
Okay.
And questions will be of master's level in the optional subject.
Okay.
In general studies, it will be most of the questions will be of bachelor's degree level.
Okay.
But optional subject will be of master's level.
Okay.
So we have to study that subject in depth.
Sure.
And then that will be of 2 papers.
Yeah.
And then general studies, essay. So these all put together around 1,750 marks.
Right.
It will come out.
And what's the passing mark for that?
Roughly 51 to 52%.
Okay.
That's where first rank stands. 55% if I'm correct.
Okay. So 55% is what they can achieve in the
first rank. First
okay.
rank. They get first rank.
Okay. They get the first rank.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is your main exams. Then obviously 3,000 people will be called in for an interview. In your batch basically,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that was the number. Roughly around that much. Can you tell us how was your interview?
Yeah, my interview, I attended 2 interviews basically.
Okay.
So both were good for me.
Yeah.
Both are like, very cherishable memories.
Okay, yeah.
Now also if I start, it'll start a trip, like how it all
started. Yeah.
So it was very interesting experience. And, it is an opportunity also to go through that process of interview. They're all so well-read people.
Yeah.
They've seen so many things in their life.
Right.
They're sitting on that chair after having so much of experience.
Yeah.
So to sit with them for 40-45 minutes to discuss itself is an opportunity. It's a privilege.
Yeah.
So my first interview was taken by one a former IFS officer, Indian Foreign Service.
Okay.
Miss Sujata Mehta madam. The board was headed by her. She was a member of UPSC.
Okay.
So it was good. She asked me all sorts of questions, like based on my interest, based on my education. I am a little interested in watching films. I used to watch films those days.
Okay.
So she being a foreign service officer, she asked, who is your favorite director?
Okay.
Of all the global cinema, not just Indian cinema. So I had told, if I remember, Akira Kurosawa. He's a Japanese director.
Okay.
There's a film called Rashomon.
Okay.
So she asked, do you? Then I told this Akira Kurosawa.
Did she know?
Yeah, he's a famous director.
Yeah.
Anybody who is a film buff will know him.
Okay.
He is like considered master director.
Right.
So this Rashomon, she asked me, do you know there is a phrase called Rashomon effect in English?
Okay.
So see the Rashomon effect, just to dive. So Rashomon effect is like there is a truth, but there is a philosophy also. Nobody knows absolute truth. Everybody knows only their point of view of that.
Correct.
So this is Rashomon effect.
Okay, right.
Whenever there is a controversy erupts,
Yeah.
people struggle to know what is actually happened. They'll only see views, not the truth.
Yeah.
That is Rashomon effect.
Got it.
The Rashomon is also about that only. In that film, if you see, one murder has happened, and in the movie, the story goes like every person explains what happened in the incident.
Yeah.
So now at the end, it ends with one of the character telling their version. They don't tell what actually happened.
Yeah.
So it ends with only versions.
Versions, yeah.
The philosophy is there are only versions of truth. There is no absolute truth.
Okay, got it.
So she was impressed.
Impressed with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in the second interview, I was asked because of my electronics background.
Yeah.
So they asked at that time it was a hot topic.
Sure.
They asked, do you think EVMs are hackable? I'm an electronics engineer also. I had to answer technically.
Yeah. Okay.
They expected me to do that. Anybody generally would defend, no, EVMs are not hackable.
Yeah.
It's not possible. I gave a little different, I had read it somewhere, it's not my opinion.
Yes.
So I read it somewhere that EVMs are hackable because technically any electronic device can be hacked.
Yeah.
Provided we have access to it.
Yeah.
And there are two ways to access it. One is wired access, another is wireless access.
Yes.
Wireless access is not possible because it's not a wireless device. There is no antenna in EVM. But wired access is not possible because of procedural safeguards. The EVMs are safeguarded in so secure and protocol-oriented ways. It's very difficult to get access for any common man or anybody. So in that way, it is not hackable.
Right. So that was like one of the second question, which
not second question. One of the questions
which is more interesting. Yeah.
So it was a very interesting experience. So
how long did the interview last?
Almost 40-45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Yeah. So I got one of the highest marks.
Oh, nice.
So to say.
In the interview.
Yeah, in the interview. Both the interviews.
So the first interview happens, and what's the next? Like after you clear the first one, you go to the next one.
No. It was like in a different cycle. I wrote exam again. In the second interview.
Okay, right.
Only one interview for one cycle.
One cycle. That's okay. Yeah. That's clear. So you did totally two interviews.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I attended the interview 2 times in 2 cycles.
Okay, got it.
So one cycle again, I got 1 rank. Again, I tried for the second time.
Right. Okay. So then you tried again, and then that's.
Yeah. It was interesting experience.
Yeah. I mean, I think to reach that, I think, and then 3,000 people reach and only 1,000 make it. So you were in your batch, and
I got in 2017 batch. I got 269th rank. All India rank.
Okay. So out of the 1,000 people, basically.
Yeah. So after that, based on that, these 22 services are there.
Yeah.
So in engineering, we get allotted according to our preferences, right? Which branch we want to go into.
Right.
Similar way here also, they would have taken the preferences while filling the application itself.
What is your preference?
Obviously, IAS, IPS, IRS.
You had put okay.
Yeah. So based on the ranking, they'll allot the services.
Right.
I got allotted to IRS, Indian Revenue Service.
Okay. And in your time, 1,000 people, let's say, made it. What is the ratio? Like, how many of them become IAS? How many become IPS roughly?
Before exam itself, in notification, they'll mention how many vacancies are there for each service.
Okay.
In my batch, around 180 people were there in IAS.
Okay.
Out of that, 50% got general merit and 50% reserve category. So 90 people in the top 100 got IAS. And then another 30-40 got IFS. Then IPS, Indian Police Service, around 90 to 100. After that, IRS started.
Got it. Okay. So shifting gears a little bit, this is obviously very interesting. I'm sure if I keep asking more questions, you'll be very interested to talk on UPSC, but we can cover some things a bit later. On coming to your actual job right now, right, which is being an IRS officer, can you tell us a little bit more on what IRS stands for and the basic responsibilities of the IRS department? And also, if you could then talk, what are the types of taxes are there in India, and then we could elaborate a bit more.
Yeah. So in India, the structure is defined in Constitution itself. We have 2 layers of government. In fact, 3 layers of government now, with panchayats also included as 3rd layer of government. So central government, Union of India, and then state governments, and then panchayats. So all of them have been given a list of taxes which they can collect. That is mandated in the Constitution itself, their sphere of tax collection. So central government collects taxes. Out of that, if you divide all taxes put together, if you divide, there will be 2 types of taxes. direct taxes and indirect taxes. Direct taxes, as you said, you directly pay out of your pocket. You are the one who is suffering the taxation and you are the one who is paying also. That is the direct tax. In indirect taxes, you are paying, but someone else is collecting and paying it to the government. Like if you go to a restaurant, you will pay tax as part of the bill, but that is collected by hotelier and paid to the government.
Correct.
That is indirect taxes. The taxation is suffered by one and collected and paid by somebody else. That is indirect taxes. So in the system of in Indian system of government, we have two boards at the central level. One is CBDT, that is Central Board of Direct Taxes, and another one is CBIC, Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs. Right. Customs and indirect taxes put together is another board. So all these, all the two boards are manned from top to bottom by IRS officers at different levels. So based on promotion, they go to the higher position.
Which one are you? Which department are you in?
I am in now CBDT. That is Income Tax Department in colloquial terms. But technically, it's called CBDT. Central Board of Direct Taxes. It is part of Department of Revenue. That is part of Ministry of Finance.
Ministry of Finance,
of Government of India.
Basically, the ministry which makes sure they are collecting.
They are collecting the revenue. Department of Revenue.
Department of Revenue.
So this is basic structure. In state also similarly there is tax collection systems, commercial tax department, excise, etc., etc., stamp duty, stamp registration and department, all that.
Sure. So if you want to tell us like how the taxation has evolved since you joined, maybe obviously before you joined. There were a lot of things also evolving in India, I'm sure. But since you joined, technology-wise, system-wise, can you tell us what evolution you have seen from the time you've been there?
So I have joined fairly recently, 16, 17. After that also I took training for 2 years.
Sure.
So my first field posting was only in 2020 or 21. So I have
few years only.
Few years into field. But we hear stories of the department how it was earlier. We have seen like people used to file ITR manually. Nowadays we can't even think of it.
Think of doing the scale of how you're filing. It doesn't work.
So manual filing of ITR, it was there, and then manual processing of ITR. Officers used to sit and go through those manual ITRs and find out any issues in that and call for scrutiny of those cases. That was the system earlier.
How it was.
Now it is totally shifted to digital age. So our filing of ITR is totally digitalized. And the processing itself is digitalized. That is totally automated. So we have one central processing center in Bangalore, CPC we call it. All our ITRs go there and it gets processed in an automatic way. There are set criteria, risk parameters and all that. So that is decided by the board itself. It's a policy matter.
So they will be able to see how the risks are
so those
identified.
ITRs are processed by computer systems and if everything is correct, your refund is processed immediately.
Which you've seen, systems when you file and this thing, you almost
within a day or two you are getting back refund.
Correct.
Earlier refund itself used to
take very long.
Months together. So that has become very hassle free. And then out of those ITRs, if any issue is found out by the system based on certain criteria, that will be selected for scrutiny or what we call assessment. Then assessment officer will do the assessment of that particular case. That then assessment order is passed, adjusting the changes. What is filed by you
and what
that is adjusted by this much. So extra taxes you have to pay. In layman terms. So that is the basic structure in the income tax department.
Understood. And we also seen a lot of private companies now getting into to help formalize tax collection a little bit. I've seen companies which will help you to file tax more easier. And what's your take on that? Like, how is it helping the department with more private sectors coming into this foray?
Nowadays with digital revolution, a lot of changes are happening from the assessee side also. That is like taxpayer side also. So earlier there used to be one chartered accountant who used to help taxpayer to file his return or all that thing. Nowadays there are digital platforms who will collect data in a particular file format. They will process that information and file the ITR on your behalf. There are many such platforms which have come up. So long as it is correct and they are providing right knowledge, it's acceptable. It doesn't matter who is filing the ITR on your behalf, provided the information is correct and you are okay with that ITR. So it is anyway.
So it is just
helping
another
tax
layer
collection.
the
It's-
private sector is adding, which is helping people to file their
Mostly it
taxes.
helps salaried individuals
Yeah.
where ITS are not so complex.
Yeah,
They are straightforward.
straightforward. So they don't have to go to a CA; they can just do it themselves on this.
But
platform.
sometimes, I have seen cases where because of such, automated processes, the nuances are missed and they face problem later also.
Or they might not get the refund what they should have got, maybe
That is one of the things.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll miss something which should have been
done properly.
done properly.
Yeah.
Then they'll face a problem later.
yeah.
When
Then-
the notice comes, they will be like, "Sir, we filed on our own. We didn't know."
Right? Yeah.
But sadly, ignorance is not an excuse.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ignorance of law is not an excuse.
But I think this is an evolution again. These private sectors probably are learning.
Gradually, people will
Yeah.
become aware with tax provisions and all.
Yeah.
They'll,
And it has to become easier
yeah.
because at the end of the day, I think the systems are, the private sector is trying to do that. They're making this layer to make it easier, to be the bridge between the department and to the citizens. So I guess like, when you have IRS here, collecting taxes, you have CAs who are kind of facilitating. Is there some sort of let's say, a relation which is maintained between Chartered Accountants of India with IRS? Because I think this is a very important relation. One is facilitating to collect tax. One is ensuring taxes are collected. Do you guys have regular meetings between the boards? Is there something which you're aware of?
Yeah, that is actually keeps happening at the level of board.
Okay.
There is one organization for all chartered accountants, ICAI.
I see. Yeah.
Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. That is like a policy body for all chartered accountants. They conduct exams also for CAs. So all the policy matters will be taken up by them with the board directly. And for any awareness programs, we keep calling their regional chapters.
Sure.
We hold meetings with them or we conduct awareness programs.
Sure.
They will help facilitate calling all the CAs of that region at one place.
Right.
And then seminars are arranged by the department.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a give and take.
Give and take, yeah, because they need to give feedback and then understood from each other.
Many times the department organize feedback sessions also on the provisions.
Right.
Take their feedback. And it is again incorporated in the next set of amendments.
Right. So this is obviously on your structured, in terms of how IRS works. Can you tell us a little bit more on challenges in your department on a day-to-day basis? Challenges not just in the department as such, but challenges in terms of tax enforcement and anything which is related to that.
The only challenge I face most of the times is the awareness about provisions. That will be a challenge because this tax policy environment itself is dynamic.
Yeah.
It keeps changing every year. So one has to be updated to certain extent, at least what is applicable to him or her.
Yeah.
So that is the biggest challenge I face. Like
to make the
people
awareness.
will not be aware and commit mistake without knowing, unknowingly, without any intention. And then they get stuck with the process.
So probably better education for these people is...
that department keeps doing it.
Yeah.
Awareness programs for the taxpayers.
And people need to make themselves more aware of this as well.
And a lot of channels will also come up, YouTube and otherwise.
Yeah, this is also purpose of this show, to educate people, to learn more. But what would be your advice to people, let's say, to understand a bit more on their own taxes, the ones who are filing, any sort of learning they can do? Should they go in? Maybe there's a public domain on from your department which they talk about how taxes are filed. Is there some portal where they can seek out?
Income tax department itself keeps giving a lot of awareness programs online and all.
Okay.
In their Twitter handle, they keep updating the new provisions and all.
Yeah.
Other than also, there are like social media and other channels have come up where they keep giving small snippets.
Yeah.
Of the new changes coming up. So if people are interested, they can follow.
They can always.
Otherwise, they can go for a good CA who can always help them.
Make sure that, okay. So here is, obviously on collection of taxes, challenges of all this, which the IRS deals with. Obviously, IRS, I think there's probably misconception that the one who collects also is not the one distributing. But what's the coordination between collection and then how does that money get moved to, let's say, the government and the distribution. Is there any accountability IRS holds any other department when collecting and then the distribution?
No, IRS as such is not involved in the distribution part of it. We are the collection arm of the Government of India.
Sure.
So the process is already set in stone in the Constitution itself.
Yep.
So whatever the taxes are collected and will be deposited in Consolidated Fund of India. That is one account, you can say.
Sure.
In layman terms.
Yeah.
Similarly, state governments have Consolidated Fund of respective states.
Yeah.
So all the money collected will go to that first. It will all be collected in that. Then there are two levels of government, as I said already. So center and state.
Yeah.
So the portion of taxes collected by state is less compared to the center's tax collections. So there is a system in place. Out of the tax collected by center, a portion of it is shared back to state governments, like grants or grant in aid or something.
Right.
So that is decided by Finance Commission.
Okay.
Once in every 5 years.
Yeah.
They will decide a formula based on which taxes are shared with all the states. So that formula depends on population of the state, per capita income, underdevelopment, forest cover. Like there are set, they will decide that formula.
Yep.
Based on that, they will decide how much percentage of the central pool should go to each state. So based on that, they will be distributed. So states use that funds for their own programs and schemes. And center is left with some money out of the central pool that is used for central budget and central schemes.
Okay.
So there will be a budgeting every year. After budgeting, it will be presented to the parliament. Parliament accepts it. Then all the departments are allotted the respective funds for those schemes and programs. So this is the basic structure of distribution of or usage of funds.
Usage of funds. Yeah.
So here IRS doesn't play much of the role.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Got it. That's some good clarification. So, what in the what excites you in the IRS? What excites you every day, or what something which you're looking forward to, which is going?
It's very dynamic space.
Yeah.
Very technically challenging. Every day the environment keeps changing, because every day the policy keeps changing, law keeps changing, rules keep changing. So one has to always keep updating.
Yep.
That is very challenging. Always.
Yeah.
But it's exciting also.
Yeah. Do you have any stories so you've been working last few years? Do you have any stories which you would want to tell us? In something like a funny story which you have come across, which has happened in your department, and you would want to share with the public.
Very difficult to write.
Yeah, maybe it's very hard to be a funny story when it comes to collection of taxes.
Yeah.
No problem. So there's one point I would want to also highlight, because just pulling ourselves back into the UPSC preparation. You said COVID changed a lot of things in the way people are studying. There's a lot of overload of information, because conclusively, I guess, what was the advice based on all the changes that's happened since you passed out, and now so many things are very different. So what is the advice you would give with all this information overload and so many things dynamically changing in this today's world?
Actually, this preparation scenario has changed a lot, pre-COVID and post-COVID. We are all aspirants of pre-COVID era. So we cleared in 2017.
Yeah.
In fact, I feel that the privilege what the present aspirants have, we missed it badly. In positive way to look at it.
Yeah.
But the negative ways, there's information overload also. Candidates are suffering from the choices. Problem of plenty.
Too much information, and they don't know which one
to choose. What is the right amount of material? What is the right kind of guidance? What is the right strategy for the exam?
So if you have to,
because this the one more thing I want to tell about this exam is difficult not because it tests the IQ of an individual. It's not for super intelligent people. There is no rocket science. What is asked here? So the subject itself is general studies.
Get it?
So basic knowledge of all the subjects. So why is it so difficult? Because of the patience it requires, the hard work it requires, the perseverance. Because it's not very easy to clear it in first attempt. So this is a cycle of 1 year. Once it starts, it takes 1 year. So if you fail in the prelims, you have to wait for others to complete their mains and interview, and then the prelims to come again to write the next cycle.
Yeah.
It's a 1 year wait.
Yeah.
So it's a waiting game. everybody gets frustrated in the process.
Yeah.
So one has to come out of that frustration and then again regain the composure and start again.
Right.
It's more of a mind game than the intelligence.
Yeah.
So you have to control your emotions. You have to be at it always.
Yeah.
You have to work hard and hard. That's what is the test about.
How did you, kept your emotions in control? How did you keep your perseverance? Which can be advised to the...
Not just me. Every aspirant will go through this phase.
Yeah.
The mental challenges. In fact, the challenges one faces when they decide to face this exam. The first one is financial challenges. For many people, it is very difficult to afford to go to Delhi and stay there for 1 year, 2 years, because many come from poor background also, different socioeconomic backgrounds, so to say. So in that way, I want to just make suggestion. The government of Karnataka has come up with one good scheme for people from poor socioeconomic background. They can take the government help and take coaching in Delhi at the cost of government. Government will pay entire the cost of the program, including coaching fees, food allowances, stay, accommodation fees, everything. And the government takes care of that entire coaching period takes care of the student for that entire.
How does someone apply to this?
So they conduct one preliminary exam for that. It's kind of a scholarship.
Yeah.
So they have to apply for that. And then if government will select a bunch of students out of that, they will be sent to Delhi free of cost.
Sure.
So that they can make use of it. This is about financial challenges. Coming to physical challenges also. See, it is about long hours of study, sitting idle at one place.
Yeah.
They have to take care of their health also. Many people face obesity.
Yeah. During this time,
their physical health gets disturbed, and that is one more challenge. More importantly, mental challenge.
Yeah.
I have seen many people, including me also. They almost go to the edge of depression when they don't clear the
mental
exam.
Health is
because it is very difficult to study for 1 year, and then at the end of year they'll say you are not selected.
Yeah.
And you are back at square one.
Yeah.
It's not like you have cleared prelims, you have cleared mains, so you directly appear for interview next year. It's not like that. You have to start from prelims.
Yeah. Again.
So you have to start from prelims, then mains, then interview again.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating experience.
Yeah.
Then you have to come out of that. There your internal motivation will help you.
Yeah, I think this is, as you said, so this is not more the super intelligence, but it's the perseverance, the hard work and the waiting game, patience, which will make you a fine officer in the end. If you can go through these cycles and come out of it.
They can withstand any pressure.
They can withstand any pressure, which is there in the services, obviously, because it's serving to such a big population in India. Pakkiresh, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure talking with you. If you like this episode, please like, subscribe, and we will also be putting Pakkiresh's email in the description. I'm sure there's a lot of aspiring UPSC people preparing for the UPSC, and they have some questions. I hope you learned a lot from this talk. But if there's some more questions which you want to answer, we will have this on email, and Pakkiresh will be more than happy to answer. Thank you so much for joining on the talk show, and hope you enjoyed it.
Definitely.